Hey guys, tonight we're sliding open the paper screens of a hidden world. We're in the Gion district of Kyoto in the 1950 seconds, a place of silent, lantern-lit alleys, the clicking of wooden sandals on stone, and the faint, haunting sound of a shamisen lute. Let's be honest, most of us think we know the story of a geisha, probably from a famous novel or movie, a tragic, fictional tale of a girl sold into servitude. The truth is far more fascinating. This is the real-life story of Mineko Iwasaki, a girl who wasn't sold, but who chose this life at age 5. She would become the most famous geisha in Japan, but her survival wasn't against what you'd expect. It was a 15-year marathon of 18-hour workdays, bleeding fingers, and learning to sleep on a small, hard block to protect her hairstyle. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy what I do here. As always, I'd love to see where in the world you're joining me from tonight, so please drop your city and local time in the comments below. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Kyoto, 1953. The city has survived, but the air you breathe is thin and cold. The great, soaring temples still stand, but the small wooden houses that huddle in their shadows are weary. Their inhabitants are worn down by the long, lean years of the post-war. Your world is a small, traditional house in a quiet neighborhood where the afternoon light is a watery, grey wash. It filters through the paper shoji screens of the main room. The screens are patched with different, mismatched pieces of paper, a testament to a family on the decline, a family that once knew silk but is now reduced to mending paper. The air in the room is frigid. The hibachi, the small charcoal brazier that should be the heart of the home, sits cold and empty, its bed of white ash undisturbed. In the center of this cold, quiet room, a single, tiny figure is in motion. You are Masako Tanaka. You are 4 years old, almost 5. You are small for your age, a slip of a girl, but you hold yourself with a bone-straight, unchildlike posture. Your black hair is cut short, in a simple, severe fringe. You wear a faded cotton yukata, a simple robe that is slightly too small, the sleeves ending just above your wrists. Your feet, in clean white tabby socks, are planted on the cold, yellowing tatami mat. You are not playing, you are practicing. Your face is a mask of severe, almost frightening concentration. Your dark brows are furrowed, your small, full lips are pressed into a thin, disciplined line. Your dark, intense eyes are not looking at the room around you, not at the patched walls or the empty alcove where a valuable scroll should hang. They are fixed on an invisible point in the middle distance, a place in your own mind where a performance is unfolding. Slowly, with an agonizing, measured precision that is alien to a child, you raise your small arms. Your hands, tiny and precise, slice through the frigid air, your fingers arranged just so, mimicking the perfect, fluttering gesture of a sleeve, a gesture you saw only once, weeks ago, at a local dance performance. The shush, shush, shush of your feet sliding on the straw mat is the only sound in the house. You have no music, only the rhythm in your head. You move through the ancient, formal postures of the bio dance. You are a child, but you are not imitating a child's game. You are imitating an ancient empress, a legendary hero, a spirit of the wind. You are a tiny, perfect vessel for an art form 1,000 years old. In the shadows of the room, your family watches. They are a silent, unmoving audience of ghosts. Your father, a man from a declining aristocratic artisan family, sits in the corner, his hands, stained with the faint, spectral ghosts of old dyes, are clenched uselessly in his lap. He was a master of painting intricate golden cranes on silk kimonos, But in this new Japan of austerity and American influence, there is no one left to buy such things. You feel his anxious pride as he watches you. He sees his own lost, beautiful, and useless art living again in you. From the dark, wooden-floored alcove that serves as the kitchen, your mother watches. She is a woman worn thin by the daily, grim mathematics of scarcity. Her hands, red and chapped, are paused in the act of stirring a small pot of watery soup. She hears no music, only the scrape of the rice paddle against the bottom of the empty wooden tub. She too watches you, but her expression is one of weary, practical love. They both understand the truth. This talent is not just a gift, it is a beautiful, terrible burden. You are an orchid blooming in a cellar, a creature of expensive, exquisite artistry, born into a house of bare cupboards. You finish your sequence. Your small chest is heaving, your breath a tiny white cloud in the cold. You sink to your knees. Then, with a slow, perfect grace, you perform a deep, formal bow, your forehead touching the cold tatami mat. It is a perfect, reverent salute to the empty, silent room. You are a prodigy, a treasure, and in the thin, hungry air of 1953, your talent is a problem that must be solved. You can feel it in their silence. A gift this great, this demanding, is something your family cannot afford to keep. You hear a sound outside. It's not the usual muffled shuffling of your neighbours on the dirt-packed alley. It is a sharp, deliberate clack, clack, clack of expensive wooden getter, sandals, on the stone path. The sound is clean, wealthy, and out of place, like a diamond dropped in a bowl of mud. It stops directly outside your house. The paper shoji screen slides open with a soft, formal shush. The thin, cold air in your small room seems to instantly thicken, to hold its breath. A woman enters. She is not a person, she is a presence. She is a small, solid mountain of silk brocade, a walking map of colours, deep indigo, pine green, and flashes of gold that you have only ever seen in paintings. She is Oima, the Okasan, mother of the Iwasaki Okiya in Gion. Her face is a pale, powdered, and perfectly unreadable mask. Her lips are a small, disciplined dash of red. She moves not like a person, but like a slow, deep river. Her movements a single, fluid, and silent gesture as she kneels on the worn tatami mat. She is, you realize, the most expensive thing you have ever seen. Your parents bow, their forms stiff and brittle like dry leaves. You can feel their anxiety coming off them in waves, a sharp, metallic smell of fear in the small room. They are facing a woman who represents a power they cannot comprehend. But Oima does not look at your parents. She does not look at the patched screens or the bare cupboards. Her eyes, dark and sharp as polished obsidian, move past them and find you. It is not a kind gaze. It is not the gaze of a grandmother. It is the gaze of a master jeweler inspecting a rare, uncut stone. She is not seeing a child. She is seeing an investment. Her eyes appraise your straight posture, the line of your neck, the stubborn, unchildlike set of your jaw. Dance, she says. Her voice is not loud, but it fills the room, leaving no space for refusal. Your father flinches, as if struck. But you, fueled by that same strange inner fire, stand up. You move to the center of the room. The shush-shush of your feet on the mat is the only sound. You perform your dance, your entire, tiny being focused into a point of pure, fierce artistry. You are a child playing at being an ancient empress. Oima watches. Her own expression does not change. The porcelain mask is perfect. She sees your natural grace, but more than that, she sees the bone, your pride, your unchildlike discipline, your stubborn, unshakable spirit. She is looking for a girl who will not bend, a girl who will endure. Your dance finishes. You sink into a deep, perfect bow. The air in the room is tight, vibrating. Your father, his voice a dry, rasping sound, finally speaks. He is bracing himself for the grim mathematics of the poor, the negotiation of your sale. This is the common practice. A daughter's mouth traded for the family's survival. Oima raises a perfectly manicured hand, silencing him. The clink of her teacup on its saucer is the only sound, a small, sharp noise of absolute authority. I am not here to buy your daughter, she says. You see your parents stare, their faces a shared mask of paralyzed confusion. If not to buy, then what? I am the mistress of the Iwasaki house, Oima continues, her voice flat and all business. I have no daughter. I am growing old. She looks at you again, that assessing gaze locking onto your own fiery one. I am not looking for just another apprentice. I am looking for an attatori. The word drops into the cold room with the heavy, impossible weight of a block of solid gold. An heir, not a maid, not a slave bound by debt. The legal, designated heir to the entire, wealthy Iwasaki house. This is not the expected, grim transaction. This is an invitation to a throne. The word Oima spoke attatori. Air hangs in the small, cold room, a word of impossible, terrifying weight. It feels like a block of solid gold has just been dropped onto your thin straw mats. Your parents are frozen. You watch them. Their faces, so familiar in their daily etchings of worry, are now pale with a new, sharp and profound shock. This is not the grim, simple negotiation of poverty they had braced for. A sale, however painful, is a clean severing. You would be gone, and they would survive. But this is a grafting. It is a choice that will take you, their daughter, and permanently plant you in a new, foreign and wealthy garden, binding you there forever. They look at each other, their shared expression, one of pure, uncomprehending terror. But Oima, the mistress of the Okiya, is not watching your parents. Her sharp, obsidian eyes have not left you. Her pale, powdered face is a perfect, neutral mask, but her gaze is an intense, appraising force. She is waiting. She knows she is not negotiating with the terrified adults. She is negotiating with you. And you are not looking at your mother or father. You are staring at Oima. You are not seeing a stranger. You are not seeing a matriarch or a woman who has come to take you away. You are seeing the silk. You are seeing the rich, impossible colors of her kimono, the intricate embroidery of a golden crane in flight. It is a splash of vibrant, defiant color in the endless, patched paper gray of your life. It is the color of the dances you practice in your mind, the color of the art you crave. It is an escape. It is a future. While your parents see only the sacrifice, you, with the terrifying, simplistic logic of a 5-year-old, see only the beauty. Oima lifts her teacup. The small, sharp clink of the porcelain on the saucer is the only sound in the room. It is the sound of absolute patience. The life is hard, little one, she says. Her voice is soft, but it is not gentle. It is the voice of business. The lessons are painful. You will work from before the sun rises until after it sets. You will have no family but the one I give you. You will do this for 10 years before you even begin. She is not offering a life of luxury. She is offering a life of monastic, artistic discipline. You see your father flinch out of the corner of your eye, a small, pained sound in his throat. He, the artisan, understands the sacrifice Oima is describing. His face crumples slightly. He opens his mouth, his expression one of refusal. He is about to say no, to reject this strange, harsh, and unbelievable honor. But you are faster. I will go, you say. Your voice is not the high, reedy sound of a child. It is clear, steady, and absolutely certain. Your parents look at you, their faces a new mask of stunned disbelief. You, their youngest daughter, have just made a decision for the entire family. You step forward, a single, deliberate step that carries you away from the part of the room where your parents sit and into the center, into the open space before Oima. You drop to your knees on the cold tatami mat, and with a grace that echoes the dances you practice, you perform a deep, formal bow, your small forehead touching the floor. It is not the hesitant gesture of a child. It is the binding, solemn promise of an adult. Oima watches your small, prostrated form. This is the final, crucial test. You have not cried. You have not clung to your mother. You have heard the terms, the beauty and the pain, and you have accepted them. You have the bone. She does not smile. This is not a moment of joy, but the signing of a lifelong contract. She simply nods once. A small, sharp, definitive gesture. The deal is struck. Your family's reluctance, their love, their fear. It is all a useless, broken dam against the unshakable, determined will of a 5-year-old girl. You have just chosen your own fate. You have traded your family for your art. Oima finishes her tea, the cup replaced on the saucer with a final, quiet click. The business of the day is done. She has found her heir. The walk to your new life is a journey between two worlds. You leave the familiar, grey, and dusty alleys of your childhood, your small hand held in the firm, dry grip of Oima. You do not look back. Your parents are not there. The promise, the bow on the tatami mat, was a clean and final severing. You walk into Gion. The air itself feels different here. It is cleaner, quieter. The buildings are not the leaning, patched-together shacks of your neighborhood, but tall, immaculate, 2-story wooden houses. Their facades, a dark, latticed mystery. The street is not dirt, but clean, dark stone. You hear the sharp, refined clack-clack of other wooden sandals, the distant, melodic plink-plonk of a shamisen, lute, being practiced, a sound that floats from an unseen upstairs window. Oima stops before a tall, narrow house, indistinguishable from the others, its wooden front dark and polished with age. This is the Iwasaki Okiya. She does not knock. She slides the wooden door open with a soft, authoritative shush. You step inside, and the smell of your old life is instantly erased, replaced by the smell of this new world. It is a powerful, alien, and deeply intoxicating scent. It is not the smell of fish, or dust, or poverty. It is the sharp, clean, almost sterile scent of floor wax, the deep, rich perfume of old polished wood, and threading through it all the high, sweet and spiritual wisp of incense. The house is a long, dark corridor, its floor made of polished wooden planks, so clean and dark they reflect the light from the paper screens like a still, black pond. It is silent, not the empty silence of your old home, but a managed silence, a silence heavy with discipline and unspoken rules. Oima leads you to the main hall, and here, the silence is broken. You see them, girls, some older, some your age. They are on their hands and knees, their movements quick and practiced, scrubbing the long, dark floor with wet rags. Their kimonos are simple, patched cotton. These are the Shikomi maids and Minarai, junior apprentices. They stop, their hands in the cold grey water, and they look at you. You, in your best but still worn travelling clothes, standing beside the great Oima. Their expressions are not friendly, they are not welcoming, they are curious, appraising, like a pack of small, cautious animals sizing up a new arrival, trying to determine your place in the pack. Oima's voice cuts through the quiet. "This is Masako," she announces to the room. "She is now of this house. She is the Atatori." The word heir hits the room, and the atmosphere changes instantly. The girl's simple, animal curiosity hardens. You can feel it. You are no longer just a new girl to be pitied or ignored. You are a threat. One girl in particular does not look away. She is older than you, perhaps 10. She is, you see, with a small, cold jolt, exquisitely beautiful, with a perfect doll-like face and large dark eyes. She is not scrubbing the floor. She is standing by a screen, holding a lacquer tray. This is Tomiko. While the other girl's expressions were simple, wary calculation, Tomiko's gaze is something else entirely. It is a cold, sharp, and intensely jealous look. It is a look of pure, unadulterated hatred. She sees you, this 5-year-old child who has just been named heir, and she instantly despises you. You have just made your first and most dangerous enemy, and you have not yet spoken a single word. Oima ignores the electric, unspoken tension she has just created. She guides you to a small bare room with clean tatami mats. This will be your space. She kneels, her movements a single, fluid gesture, forcing you to look her in the eyes. Her pale, powdered face is an unreadable mask. "Listen to me, little one," she says, her voice as soft and as cold as silk. "You are the Atatori. This house, its name, its debts, its treasures, it will all be yours one day. That is your future. But this," she says, her gaze hardening, "is your present." Her voice drops, losing its softness, becoming the hard, flat iron of command. "Your talent means nothing here. Your will means nothing here. From this moment, you are the lowest form of life in this house. You are lower than the maids who have been here a month. You are a shikomi. You will rise before everyone. You will scrub these floors until they shine. You will wash the linens in the cold water until your hands are raw. You will obey every girl in this house, even the ones, like Tomiko, you already know you despise. You will speak only when spoken to. You will bow, you will serve, and you will learn." She pauses, letting the immense, crushing weight of these rules settle on your small shoulders. "You may be the heir, Masako," she finishes, "but you will start at the bottom. We will see if that bone I saw in you is strong enough, or if it will break. You stand alone in your new, empty room. The house is silent again, but for the distant, nagging plink-plonk of someone somewhere practicing a shamisen. You have escaped your old life. You have entered the world of art. But you realize, with a sudden, chilling clarity, that you have just traded one form of poverty for another. You have left the poverty of money for the poverty of status. You have traded the cold grey world of your family for this dark, polished, and suffocatingly claustrophobic new world of women. Your fierce, independent, artistic spirit, the very thing that brought you here, is now a prisoner. And your only purpose, your only path to survival, is to learn to obey. Weeks have passed since your arrival at the Iwasaki Okiya. The initial, strange beauty of the house, the smell of incense and polished wood, the rustle of silk has faded, replaced by the grim reality of your new life. You are a shikomi, a maid, the lowest of the low. Your days are a blur of grueling, endless, and cold labor. You are awake before dawn, your small hands plunged into buckets of icy water, scrubbing the endless, dark, wooden floors of the corridors until they shine like a black mirror. Your hands are perpetually raw, your knuckles split and bleeding. You run errands in the cold Gion alleys, clean the hibachi grates, and spend your evenings in the kitchen, washing the mountains of fine porcelain dishes used by the Maiko and Geiko who live upstairs. You are the Atatori, the heir, but this title is a whisper from a distant future. In the present, you are a servant. Your rival, Tomiko, now a junior Minarai apprentice, takes great pleasure in ordering you around, her voice a sharp, mocking hiss as she asks you to polish her getter, sandals. You do it, your face, a calm, stony mask, your obedience absolute. One cold afternoon, as you are on your knees, wiping the floor, Oima's voice cuts through the quiet. "Masako, my office." Now, you freeze. Your heart gives a single hard thump. A summons to the Oka-san's private office is not for tea, it is for business. or for punishment. You see Tomiko watch you go, a small, cruel smirk on her perfect doll-like face. You follow Oima's attendant to the small, dark room at the back of the house. This is the Okia's brain, its financial heart. The paper shoji screen slides shut behind you with a soft, final thud. The room smells different from the rest of the house. Not of incense and flowers, but of old paper, of ink, and of the faint, metallic scent of money. The room is dominated by a heavy, dark wooden desk and a tall tansu chest with 100 small drawers. Oima is kneeling at the desk, but she is not the same woman you met in your parents' home. Her elegant silk kimono is gone, replaced by a simple, dark, functional one. Her face is bare of its white porcelain makeup, revealing the sharp, intelligent, and unsparing features of a businesswoman. The only sound in the room is the sharp, dry click, click, clack of her fingers on an abacus, the wooden beads flying faster than your eye can follow. She gestures for you to kneel before her. You obey, your knees pressing into the hard, cold tatami. She does not speak for a long moment. She just finishes her calculation. Then she turns and pulls a heavy, Western-style ledger from a shelf. She opens it on the desk between you. "This," she says, her voice flat and cold, "is you." She points to the top of a fresh page where your name, Masako Tanaka, is written in precise, beautiful kanji. Below your name is a list of entries, a column of words followed by a column of numbers. You read the first few lines, your blood turning to ice. Transfer fee, Tanaka family, 50,000 yen, kimono, cotton, for work. 3, 12,000 yen, board and lodging, first month, 10,000 yen. Futon and bedding, 8,000 yen. Physician's visit, for your cough, 1,500 yen. Bowl of rice, this morning, 20 yen. The list goes on. Every simple, basic act of your survival, every meal, every bar of soap, every pair of socks is here, meticulously recorded and assigned a monetary value. Oima taps the bottom of the column. "This is your debt," she says, her voice devoid of any emotion. "It is the amount you owe the Iwasaki house for the privilege of your new life." She then turns the page to another girl's ledger. It is a sea of black ink, the numbers so large they seem to blur together. "This," she says, "is a Maiko. Her debt." You see the staggering cost of a single formal silk kimono, a sum larger than your father's earnings for an entire year. This is the invisible monster of the Karyukai. You are not just an apprentice, you are an indentured servant. You are not Oima's daughter, as the tradition says. You are her investment, her single most expensive and most promising investment. You finally understand the cruelty of Tomiko, the back-breaking labor, the freezing water. It is all part of the system. You are not a girl, you are a commodity, being shaped and hardened, and you are accruing an immense, suffocating debt that you will have to repay. You will not pay this back by scrubbing floors, Oima says, closing the book with a soft, final thump. You will pay this back with your art. Your lessons at the Nyokuba begin next week. They are very expensive. That cost will also be added to this book. She looks at you, her dark, appraising eyes seeing everything. When you debut, your earnings from the tea houses, your tips, your fees, they all come to this Okia. They all come to this book. When this number, she taps the ledger, is 0, you will be free. Not before. You are dismissed. You bow, your back rigid, and you slide open the door, stepping back out into the long, dark, polished corridor. The house looks the same. The scent of incense still hangs in the air. But everything has changed. The beautiful, priceless kimonos you see hanging on a rack are no longer objects of art. They are the tally of a girl's debt. The faint, melodic sound of the shamisen from upstairs is not a sound of beauty. It is the sound of someone working off their prison sentence. You look across the hall and see Tomiko, your rival, polishing a silver hairpin. You suddenly see her in a new light. She is not just your rival for fame or for Oima's approval. She is your direct financial competitor. You are both runners in a desperate marathon race to the bottom of that ledger. And you know, with a cold, clear and unchildlike certainty, that it is a race you must win. It is the only way out. After a year of the grueling, invisible labor of a shikomi maid, you have proven your worth. You have shown Oima that your will is stronger than your body's fatigue. You are no longer the lowest in the house. You are permitted to begin your true training. Your first lesson takes place at the Nyokoba, the Geisha school. It is a quiet, ancient wooden building hidden in a silent Gion alley. The air inside smells of century-old cedar, old tatami mats, and something like chalk and discipline. It does not feel like a school. It feels like a temple to a very strict god. You enter the dance studio. It is a vast room with a polished, dark wooden floor that shines like a mirror. At the front, an elderly instructor, her face a severe, unsmiling mask, holds a small wooden stick. You and the other new girls enter, bow, and then sit in the Caesar position kneeling, your weight resting on your heels, your back held as straight as an iron rod. This is the first lesson, and it is a torture. For the first 5 minutes, you feel formal, elegant. After 10, a dull ache begins in your ankles. After 20, your knees begin to scream, a sharp, burning pain. After 30 minutes, your entire lower body is on fire. It feels as if hot, sharp needles are being driven into your calves. You are desperate to move, to shift, to just slightly ease the pressure. Clack! The instructor's wooden stick cracks sharply on the floor, just inches from your knee. You flinch. Art begins with stillness, she says, her voice cold and sharp. A geiko, artist, can kneel for 3 hours without moving. A maiko, apprentice, can kneel for 1. Your body is a cage for an animal. You will teach it to be still. Now, we begin. You bite your lip, forcing down the fire in your legs. The humiliation of the reprimand is sharper than the physical pain. But the dance, you soon learn, is not the most brutal test. That is reserved for the music. You are led to a smaller room where another teacher waits. He hands you your instrument, the shamisen. It is a beautiful but alien object with a long, slender neck and a square, drum-like body covered in, you will learn later, cat skin. It has only 3 strings, and you must play it with a bachi, a large, heavy, and sharp-edged plectrum made of ivory. You kneel again, the pain in your legs returning instantly. The teacher corrects your posture. Your arm must be held at a precise angle. Your hand must grip the bachi just so. And then, he shows you how to press the strings. This is where the real ordeal begins. To form a note, you must use the forefinger and thumb of your left hand to press the 3 taut, silk strings hard against the neck. They are not the soft strings of a koto. They are as tight as steel wire. They bite into the soft, uncalloused skin of your fingertips. It is a sharp, burning pain. Again, the teacher commands, his voice flat. You press. Twang. A jarring, ugly sound, and a sharp jolt of pain. Wrong. More force. Your fingers are weak. Again. You press. Twang. The pain shoots up your arm. The fire in your knees is now competing with the fire in your fingertips. Again. You do this for an hour. Again. 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 Your mind goes blank. There is only the pain and the sound. You feel a new, warm, wet sensation on your left forefinger. You look down. A perfect, bright red bead of blood is welling up from the tip of your finger. It stains the pale yellow silk string. You stop, horrified. You look up at the teacher, expecting some sympathy, a bandage, a moment's rest. The teacher looks at your bleeding finger. His face does not change. He does not blink. Did I tell you to stop? He asks. his voice cold and emotionless. The string is dirty now. Wipe it and continue. You are stunned. But, Master, it is bleeding. Of course it is bleeding, he says, as if explaining the weather. Your skin is soft. The string is hard. It will continue to bleed until your skin is hard enough. Until then, the bleeding is part of the lesson. You stare at your own blood, and then at the teacher's impassive face, and you understand. You are in a war of survival. The enemy is not hunger or cold. The enemy is your own weak, soft, human body. Your pain is irrelevant. Your blood is an inconvenience. The only thing that matters is the art, the perfection. This is not a school. This is a forge, and you are the piece of metal being heated and hammered into shape. You bite your lip, ignoring the burning in your legs and the wet, stinging throb in your fingertip. You press your bleeding finger back onto the string, and you play. The wounds on your fingertips from the shamisen strings have just begun to scab over, a small, hard-won victory against the instrument. But you are learning, in this new, iron-willed world, that one ordeal is merely a preparation for the next. The discipline is not confined to the nyokuba, the school. It follows you home. It follows you into your sleep. You have been an apprentice for some time now. You are perhaps 12 or 13. You have mastered the duties of a maid, and your instructors for dance and music now nod with a grim, rare approval. You are ready to move to the next stage. You are ready to look like an apprentice, a maiko. And the first, most fundamental part of this transformation is your hair. You are taken to the Kamiyui-san, the official hairdresser of the Hanamachi. You sit on a small stool, and for hours, your body held in a state of perfect, pained stillness. He begins to build your new identity. This is not a simple arrangement. It is an act of engineering, a sculpture of hair. Your own long, dark hair is pulled, sectioned, and coated in a thick, sticky, and pungent wax called bintsuke abura. It is pulled so tightly from your scalp that your eyes water, a sharp, stinging pain that you must not show. Your head feels like it is being gripped in a vice. The hairdresser works with an artist's precision, using small, carved wooden combs and silk cords, shaping your hair into the magnificent, complex, and heavy loops of the wear-shinobu, the split peach style worn only by a junior maiko. It is beautiful. It is a work of art. It is also a helmet, a heavy, waxed, and pricelessly fragile prison for your head. When you return to the okiya, Oima inspects you. She does not compliment the beauty. She nods, a single, sharp gesture of approval. This, she says, is a work of art. It cost a fortune. It must last you for 1 week. 1 week. You stare at her, your mind racing. How? How can you possibly maintain this intricate, waxed and heavy sculpture of hair for 7 days and 7 nights? How can you sleep? The answer is waiting for you in your small room. Your soft, cotton-filled futon and your simple pillow are gone. In their place is a small, rectangular wooden box, its top curved into a small, hard cradle, all of it covered in smooth, cold red lacquer. This is the takamakura, the tall pillow. It is not a pillow, it is a block. This, you realize with a cold, sinking dread, is the salt sores of the geisha world. The Essex sailor, adrift on the ocean, had his skin rubbed raw by the constant, inescapable friction of salt and wet clothes. You, a maiko adrift in a world of art, have your sleep rubbed raw by this. It is not a quick, sharp, momentary pain like the bleeding of your fingers. It is a chronic, grinding, nightly torment designed to wear you down. Your first night is a special, unique kind of hell. You are exhausted from a full day of lessons. Your legs ache from kneeling. Your fingers throb from the shamisen. You are desperate for the soft, deep, black oblivion of sleep. You lay out your futon. You kneel, and with an agonizing, crab-like delicacy, You lower yourself onto the mat. You carefully, painstakingly position the takamakura under your neck, its small, hard cradle fitting just below your skull, holding your head and its priceless hairstyle a few inches off the floor. You lie back. The sensation is instantly, shockingly wrong. Your entire body weight is resting on two small, hard points on the back of your neck. The lacquered wood is unyielding, a piece of stone against your flesh. There is no comfort. There is only a precarious, terrible balance. You close your eyes. You try to relax. You cannot. Every muscle in your body is tensed, terrified of moving. You are acutely aware of the heavy, waxed weight of the hair above you. You are a living statue, afraid to breathe too deeply lest you topple. An hour passes. The back of your neck begins to burn. A deep, dull ache radiates up into your skull and down between your shoulder blades. Your ears, unsupported, begin to throb, a painful pins and needles sensation. You are exhausted, but sleep is impossible. Sleep requires surrender, and the takamakura demands constant, unwavering vigilance. Eventually, hours later, a fitful, shallow, and dreamless sleep takes you. Your mind drifts, and with it, your body's iron control. You relax. You roll, just an inch, just a fraction, as a sleeper naturally does. Thud. You are awake, your heart slamming against your ribs. Your head has slipped from the block, striking the hard tatami floor. The impact is jarring, but the real, icy terror is for your hair. You sit bolt upright, your hands flying to your head, frantically feeling the waxed loops, checking for a stray pin, a crushed shape. Is it ruined? Will Oima see? Will you be shamed at the school tomorrow? Will the cost of a new styling be added to your suffocating debt? The hair seems to be intact. You are shaking. You lie back down, repositioning your neck on the hard, small cradle. You are wide awake now, your nerves screaming. You close your eyes, you wait. The cycle begins again. The ache, the numbness, the brief, shallow drift into sleep, the thud, the panic, the check. You watch the pale, grey light of dawn seep through the paper shoji screen, your eyes gritty, red and burning. You have not slept. You have merely endured the night. You sit up, your neck a single, crystallized column of pain. You have survived your first night on the block. You now understand the 24/7 nature of your new life. Your ordeal is not confined to the classroom or the tea house. There is no off-duty. The discipline of this world follows you even into your most private, vulnerable moments. Your own body, your own unconscious needs, the very act of sleep itself, has become your new adversary. You are a prisoner, not of walls, but of your own hair. And you know, as you rise to face a new 18-hour day of lessons on zero sleep, that you must do this again tonight, and the night after, and for years to come. You must learn to sleep like a statue, or you will not survive. Months, perhaps a year, of this grueling, painful, and monastic life have passed. You are no longer the small, bewildered girl who arrived at the Okiya. You are harder. Your hands are calloused from the shamisen strings, your knees are tough from kneeling, and your neck is strong from the nightly battle with the takamakura. The discipline, once a form of torture, is now simply the air you breathe, and you are excelling. At the Nyokuba, the school, your body, once a rebellious animal, has become a fine-tuned instrument. In dance class, you move with a grace and a deep, innate understanding of the art that makes the other girls look clumsy, like wooden puppets. Your instructors, who have never given you a word of praise, now nod, a small, sharp, almost imperceptible gesture that, in this world, feels like a roaring ovation. But success, in the closed, claustrophobic world of the Okiya, is not a simple victory, it is a target. Your rival, Tomiko, has been watching you. She is older, and her face is a perfect doll-like mask of beauty. But her talent is thin. She has none of your bone, your inner fire. She has learned the steps, but she has not learned the dance. And she sees the Oka-san, Oima, watching you with her sharp, appraising, financial gaze. She knows, with a cold, animal certainty, that you are the favored one, that you are the one who will be the Atatori, the heir, and her jealousy, a quiet, simmering poison, has begun to boil. The attack, when it comes, is not a physical blow. It is something far more cruel, more calculated. You are preparing for your Mizadashi, your official debut, a ceremony that will cost the Okiya a fortune. Your first set of priceless, formal silk kimonos has been commissioned. You are summoned to Oima's room to inspect the most important one. A magnificent heavy silk robe, a cream-coloured kiraman crepe, hand-painted with brilliant golden and crimson maple leaves. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen. Its cost, you know, is more than your father's house. It is the physical representation of your entire future. Oima shows it to you, a rare, almost proud look on her face. "This is what you have earned, Masako," she says. "Do not shame it." That night, you cannot sleep. You creep from your room to the tansu, chest of drawers, where the kimono is stored, just to look at it again. You slide open the heavy wooden drawer. A smell hits you. Not the clean, sharp scent of new silk and rice paper. A sharp, acidic, wrong smell. You pull the heavy silk from the drawer. It unfolds with a soft, liquid shush, and you see it. A thick, black, deliberate line, a river of night, has been poured from the collar all the way down to the hem. It is not a splash. It is a judgment. Someone has taken a bottle of sumi ink, the permanent, indelible ink of a calligrapher, and has executed your future. The kimono is utterly, irrevocably destroyed. You stand in the silent, dark corridor, the ruined silk heavy in your hands. You do not cry. The training has burned the easy tears from you. You feel only a cold, sharp, and profound understanding. Your eyes dart down the hall. In the shadows, you see a flicker of movement. Tomiko, pretending to be asleep, is watching you, a tiny, almost invisible smirk on her perfect doll-like face. The next morning, Oima sees the kimono. Her face, the pale, powdered mask, does not crack. She does not scream. She becomes terrifyingly, absolutely still. "Who did this?" she asks, her voice a low, cold whisper. You look at Tomiko, who is standing with the other apprentices, her face a perfect picture of innocent, wide-eyed horror. You know it was her. But in this world, an accusation without proof is a greater crime than the act itself. It is a loss of control, a display of ugly, raw emotion. You are silent. Oima looks at you, her obsidian eyes unblinking. "This was in your care," she says, her voice flat. "It was your responsibility. You were careless." You are stunned. "But mother, I did not." "It was your responsibility," she repeats, her voice like the clack of a closing lock. "The Okiya cannot afford carelessness. You are punished. You are demoted back to the rank of Shikomi for a month, scrubbing the floors again, your hands raw in the icy water, your rival Tomiko watching you, her face a mask of sweet, false pity. But that is not the real punishment. The real punishment comes that evening. Oima summons you to her office. She does not speak. She simply turns the heavy ledger to your page. You watch as she dips her brush in the inkwell. You hear the sharp, unforgiving scratch, scratch, scratch of the pen on the paper. She is adding the full, astronomical cost of the ruined kimono to your debt. You kneel on the mat, your back straight, your face a mask of perfect, disciplined obedience, just as you have been taught. You have not just been attacked. You have been financially, almost fatally, wounded. Tomiko has not only destroyed your treasure, she has made you pay for it. She has added another, higher, stone to the wall of your prison. You realize, in that cold, silent room, that the true ordeal is not the pain of the shamisen or the agony of the takamakura. It is the human war, and you have just lost your first brutal battle. You are 15. It has been 10 long, grinding years since you, as a 5-year-old girl, bowed on the tatami mat and traded your family for your art. 10 years of scrubbing the endless, dark, polished floors of the okia until your knuckles were raw. 10 years of bleeding fingertips on the shamisen strings. 10 years of forcing your body to kneel for hours until the pain was a white, blinding fire. 10 years of the takamakura, the nightly torture of the hard wooden block that stole your sleep to preserve your hair. You are no longer Masako Tanaka. That girl is a distant, faded ghost. You are a new creature, forged in the unyielding discipline of Gion. Today is the day you are finally born. Today is your misadashi, your debut. The day begins in a cold, pre-dawn darkness. You are brought not to the kitchen, but to a special, formal dressing room, a place you have never been allowed to enter. The air is cold, but it smells different, not of floor wax and old wood, but of a chalky metallic powder, of hot wax, and of expensive heavy perfume. You kneel in the center of the room. You are a blank canvas. The otakoshi, the male dresser, enters. He is a specialist, a man hired for this ritual alone, his movements quick, impersonal, and practiced. He mixes a white, chalky paste in a small porcelain bowl. This is the oshiroi, the iconic white makeup. He takes a flat brush, dips it, and begins to paint your face. It is not makeup. It is a coating. It is cold, wet, and feels like a thin layer of liquid plaster being applied to your skin. He paints your entire face, your ears, your neck, and deep down your back. He is erasing you. He is painting over the last 10 years of your life, painting over the small, stubborn girl you were. As the paste dries, your skin tightens, pulling taut, until your own face feels like an unfamiliar porcelain mask. He leaves 2, then 3, V-shaped prongs of your bare, natural skin unpainted on the nape of your neck, the komata, a detail considered the height of subtle, sensual allure. Your bare skin, framed by the white paint, is now the most intimate part of you. He takes a tiny brush and paints your lips, but only the lower one, in a small, perfect crimson flower. Your own mouth is hidden. Finally, a dash of black and crimson around your eyes. You are no longer a person. You are a symbol. Then comes the hair. Your hair, already heavy and stiff with wax from the takamakura, is adorned. You feel the weight as the dresser pushes the magnificent kanzashi, hair ornaments, into the waxed structure. Long, silver pendants with tiny bells, delicate silk flowers, and a cascade of other ornaments that tinkle softly with every tiny movement of your head. The sound is beautiful, but it is also the sound of a priceless, fragile object. Finally, you are told to stand. The dressing begins. This is not the simple yukata of your childhood. This is a cage of silk. The dresser and his assistant begin to wrap you. First, a layer of thin underrobes. Then, pads and sashes are tied tightly around your waist, smoothing your body, creating the perfect cylindrical shape. And then, the kimono itself. It is a 40-pound ceremonial masterpiece, a furisode with sleeves that sweep to your ankles. It is a breathtaking brocade of crimson and gold. You feel the almost crushing weight of it settle on your small 15-year-old shoulders. It is the most beautiful thing you have ever seen, and it is a beautiful, suffocating cage. The final piece is the Durari Obi, the long, stiff, dangling sash that marks you as a Maiko. It is more than 20 feet long, a heavy, golden river of silk. The dresser wraps it around your torso, again and again, a board-like, inflexible weight, until you feel as if you are being bound in beautiful, silken armor. To tie the final, massive knot, the dresser shoves his knee into the small of your back and pulls the silk tight with a sharp, professional grunt. The air is forced from your lungs in a sudden, sharp gasp. You cannot breathe. Not properly. You can only take the short, shallow, bird-like sips of air that the geisha world allows. The weight of the kimono, the tightness of the obi, the heavy, wobbling ornaments in your hair, it all conspires to hold you perfectly, beautifully, and painfully still. The otakoshi steps back, his work complete. Oma steps forward, her face a mask of cold, appraising, financial pride. She is not looking at her daughter. She is inspecting her investment. A masterpiece worth a fortune, one that has taken her 10 years to create. She walks a slow circle around you, touching a fold here, adjusting a pin there. She nods, a single, sharp gesture of approval. She turns you to face the full-length mirror. The girl who stares back at you is a stranger. Masako is gone. The fiery, stubborn girl who practiced dancing in a cold grey room is invisible, buried deep beneath a half-inch of white paint and 40 pounds of silk. In her place is Mineko, a perfect, silent and exquisite doll, her face a mask of serene, expressionless beauty. You look into the eyes of the stranger in the mirror. They are your eyes. They are the only part of you left, the only part that is real, looking out from inside the perfect porcelain mask. You have survived the training. You have endured the pain. You have erased yourself. You are no longer a private person. You are a public work of art, and you are, at last, ready to be shown. The transformation is complete. Oima, the Oka-san, circles you one last time. Her inspection is not for beauty, it is for flaws. Her sharp obsidian eyes scan the flawless white paint on your neck, the fold of your crimson collar, the severe, perfect line of your obi. She is a general, inspecting a new, priceless, and untested weapon before its first battle. She nods, a single, sharp clack of approval. "Do not shame this house, Mineko," she says, her voice a low, flat command. "Do not shame your older sister." Your older sister, Yayako, is waiting in the entrance hall. She is a full geiko, the woman who will now guide you, and whose reputation is tied to yours. She is a vision of austere, adult elegance. Her kimono is a deep, quiet blue, not the vibrant red of an apprentice. Her face is powdered, her collar a stark, pure white. She wears a simple, perfect wig, katsura, not her own hair. She moves with a liquid, effortless grace. She smiles at you, but her eyes are all business. "Stay close," she murmurs. "Do exactly as I do. And do not speak unless a patron speaks to you first." You step out into the Gion night. The clack, clack, clack of your new, tall, lacquered wooden sandals, the okobo, is a loud, hollow, and terrifying sound on the dark, wet stones of the alley. You feel impossibly high off the ground, a clumsy, top-heavy statue. You pray you do not stumble. A stumble would be a disaster, not just an embarrassment, but a potential financial disaster, a tear in the 40-pound silk kimono you are wearing. The alley is silent, but you hear the shush of a paper screen sliding open nearby, the faint, impressed hiss of an indrawn breath from a passerby. You are being watched. You focus only on Yako's back, your head held high, your face a perfect, smiling, terrified mask. You arrive at the Ochaya tea house. It is an old, immaculate wooden building, its entrance marked by a simple blue curtain. Yako slides the door open. You step inside, onto a polished stone floor, and slip your feet out of the high sandals. The tea house mother, another powerful matriarch in a dark silk kimono, bows deeply. "Yaiko-san, welcome." "And this is the new bud?" "Welcome, Mineko-san." You bow, so low your head almost touches your knees, a gesture made almost impossible by the heavy kimono trying to pull you off balance. You follow Yako up a narrow, steep and polished staircase. The wood is dark, smooth and cold beneath your tabi socks. The air smells of expensive sake, of rich food, and of Western cigar smoke. You hear the sound that will become the soundtrack to your life. The low, powerful murmur of men's voices, punctuated by a high, clear tinkle of female laughter. Yeiko slides open the final shoji screen. The room is a blaze of warm light. It is a large, simple tatami room, but it is filled with men, powerful men. You recognize one from the newspapers, a famous politician. You see another, a wealthy industrialist whose factories churn out half the steel in Japan. They are in dark, Western-style suits, a jarring modern contrast to your ancient formal attire. They stop their conversation and look up as you enter. This is the battlefield. You follow Yeiko, sinking to your knees in a single, fluid, and agonizing motion. You arrange your heavy, sweeping sleeves and bow until your painted forehead touches the mat. You rise, your back perfectly straight, and you kneel, your hands placed precisely on your thighs. You do not move. Your job, for the first hour, is to be a beautiful, silent object. You are a piece of living art, there to be seen, but not heard. The fire you mastered in the nyokuba, the pain of kneeling returns, a dull, screaming ache in your legs. You do not move. You smile, a slight, serene, and utterly false expression. A patron, a heavy man with a loud laugh, gestures to you. The new one, she's as pale as a fresh pearl. Come, pour for me. Your heart slams against the tight obi. Yeiko gives you a tiny, almost imperceptible nod. Now, you move. You slide across the tatami mat on your knees, a graceful, practiced movement. You pick up the small, warm, porcelain tokuri, sake flask. Your hands are trembling inside the long sleeves. You must pour a thin, precise stream of sake into his tiny cup, without spilling a single, shameful drop. Your 40-pound kimono resists, the sleeve a heavy, dead weight. You manage the pour. The man nods, satisfied, and turns back to his conversation. You have survived your first test. For the rest of the evening, this is your life. Kneel, smile, pour, be invisible. But as you kneel, you watch your older sister, Yeiko. You watch a true master at work. She is not the most beautiful woman in the room, but she is the most alive. She is a river of charm, moving effortlessly. She kneels beside the loud, gruff industrialist. He is complaining about a government contract, his voice a low, angry growl. Yeiko listens, her head tilted, her expression one of profound, intelligent sympathy. Then she laughs, a sound like a small, clear bell. "Ah, Tanaka-san," she says, her voice a playful tease. "But if all your contracts were so easy, you would be bored, and a bored man is a very poor customer for us." The table erupts in laughter. The industrialist himself, disarmed, lets out a great booming laugh. "You are too sharp, Yeiko," he says. The tension is broken. The mood is light. Yeiko, with a single, perfectly aimed sentence, has controlled the entire room. Later, she is asked to play. She takes up the shamisen. The boisterous room falls silent. She does not just play the notes. Her fingers, which you know are as tough as leather, dance on the strings. She plays a sad, haunting melody of a lost love. The music is not just sound, it is a story. You watch as the powerful, hardened faces of the men soften, their eyes lost in the music. They are captivated. The banquet finally ends. You follow Yeiko back through the dark, silent alleys of Gion. Your body is a single, screaming ache. Your neck is stiff from the heavy hair. Your back is on fire from the obi. Your legs are numb from kneeling. You are more exhausted than you have ever been. But your mind is on fire. You have survived your first battle, and you have seen what a true general looks like. You now know, with absolute terrifying clarity, what you must become. The nyokuba taught you how to move. The takamakura taught you how to be still. The shamisen taught you to bleed. But you are learning that these skills, learned through years of agonizing, repetitive pain, are merely the armor. They are the beautiful, polished, and impenetrable shell. The Ochaya Tea House is where you learn to fight. The Ozashiki Banquet is your true battlefield, and your weapon is not your dance, it is your voice. You are kneeling, a perfect, painted statue, a warm fire screaming in your legs. You have mastered the art of smiling, while your knees feel as if they are being split with hot knives. Your hands, no longer trembling, move with an effortless, practiced grace, lifting the heavy porcelain tokuri sake flask. You feel the heat of the sake through the porcelain as you pour a thin, precise, unwavering stream into a patron's tiny cup. You do not spill a drop. Your first lesson, your older sister Yaiko had told you, is to listen. You watch her work, a powerful industrialist, a new man of the Meiji era with a harsh, Western-style suit and a loud, booming voice, is complaining. His face is hard, stressed, his words a low, angry growl about a government contract. Yaiko, kneeling beside him, is not just listening, she is consuming his words. Her head is tilted at the perfect, sympathetic angle. Her painted porcelain mask is alive with a look of profound, intelligent concern. She does not interrupt. She makes him feel as if he is the only man in the world, a titan whose troubles are the most important in all of Japan. This, you realize, is not passivity. It is an act of supreme intellectual control. She is a master of kiai, the art of anticipation, of sensing a man's ego, his needs, his fragile vanities, and meeting them before he is even aware of them. When he is finished, she does not offer advice. She laughs. The sound is not loud, but it is as clear and sharp as a small silver bell. It cuts through his anger. "Ah, Tanaka-san," she says, her voice a playful, musical tease, "but if all your contracts were so easy, you would be bored, and a bored man is a very poor customer for us." The table erupts in laughter. The industrialist himself, momentarily stunned, is disarmed. A great, booming laugh bursts from him. "You are too sharp, Yaiko," he says, his mood completely reset. Yaiko, with a single, perfectly aimed sentence, has conquered him. She has not just served him sake, she has served him a more potent, more intoxicating version of himself. Your next lesson, speak. A politician from the other end of the table, his eyes sharp and curious, turns his full attention to you. "The little Maiko is quiet tonight," he says, his voice a challenge. "Does she have a voice as lovely as her dance?" Your heart gives a single hard thump against the iron-tight obi binding your chest. All eyes are on you. This is a test. You feel Yaiko's gaze on you, expectant. You cannot be dull. You cannot be arrogant. You must be witty, modest, and charming all at once. You bow your head. A small, practiced gesture of humility, the heavy silver bells in your hair tinkling softly. "My voice is still clumsy. Honored, sir," you say, the line one Yaiko has taught you. It only knows how to follow the shamisen. It has not yet learned to fly on its own. The politician smiles, pleased. The table murmurs its approval. You have passed. You have added to the beauty of the room without disrupting its delicate balance. Finally, you learn the method. The Ozashiki Asobi, the banquet games. These, you discover, are the true sanctioned battlefield of the geisha. They are not just drinking games. They are the way a Maiko can be intimate, playful, and breathtakingly flirtatious, all while remaining a perfectly respectable, untouchable artist. The games are simple, rhythmic, and fast. The most common is compira fun. You and a patron sit opposite each other, a small cup on a block between you. You tap the block and the cup in a rhythm, tap, tap, C-L-A-P, tap, tap, C-L-A-P. If the cup is on the block, you must tap it with an open palm. If it's taken away, you tap with a closed fist. You sing, the speed increasing, until one of you makes a mistake, a fist when it should be a palm. The punishment is a tiny, delicate cup of sake. It is an art form in itself. You watch Yeiko play against the industrialist. Her hands flash palm, fist, palm, palm, a blur of graceful, laughing precision. She makes him laugh. She makes him feel clever. She makes him happy. You lie on the agonizing takamakura that night, your body aching, your legs numb, but your mind is on fire. You have seen the true weapon of the geisha. It is not the 40-pound kimono. It is not the shamisen. It is not even the dance. It is her wit. It is her intelligence. It is the ability to sit in a room of the most powerful, stressed, and ego-driven men in the country and, with nothing but a shared glance, a witty retort, and the rhythm of a silly game, make them feel, for 2 precious, expensive hours, like they are the most brilliant, charming, and fascinating men in the world. The physical ordeal of your training was just to build the vessel. This is the art that fills it. This is the art that will pay your debt. This is the art you must now survive. Your talent for the dance has become a problem. At the Nyokoba school, your instructors now use you as the example, the standard, forcing the other girls to match your grace. In the Ochaya, tea houses, the most powerful patrons have begun to request you specifically. You are the Atatori, heir, and you are proving, with every flawless performance, that Oima's investment was a wise one. This success is a light, and every light casts a shadow. The shadow in the Iwasaki Okiya is Tomiko. She, who is older, who relies on her perfect, doll-like beauty, is being eclipsed. You see the silent, cold fury in her eyes when a patron praises your dance. You feel the weight of her jealousy in the dining room, a constant, pointed silence in the face of your growing fame. The rivalry, once a quiet, simmering competition, is about to escalate into a direct, physical assault. The moment comes on the most important night of your young career. It is the Miyako Odori, the dance of the capital, a massive, public performance where all the geishas of Gion showcase their skills. To be given a solo part is the highest honor for a Maiko. You have been given that honor. The air backstage at the Minamizer Kabuki Theater is a chaotic, perfumed storm. It smells of hot Binsuke Abura, hair wax, of chalky Oshiroi makeup, and of the deep, dusty scent of old wood and rope. Dresses clack, clack, clack across the wooden floors. The distant, booming thud of a drum signals the opening of the show. You are called to the dressing room. Your costume is laid out, a priceless, museum-quality kimono of heavy, hand-painted silk. It is not your usual 40-pound robe, it is an art object, its value equal to your entire, crushing debt. As the dressers begin to wrap you, you see Tomiko, who is only in the chorus, helping them. Her movements quick, her face a mask of false, sisterly concern. "Let me help, let me straighten the lining," she says, her hands darting in and out of the costume's deep folds. You are too nervous, too focused on the performance to think anything of it. The dressers pull the obi tight, forcing the air from your lungs in a familiar gasp. You are sealed in. You are Mineko, the artist. You walk to the wings, your heart a frantic drum against your ribs. You hear your cue, the low, haunting plink of the shamisen. You slide onto the polished wooden stage into the hot, bright, blinding light. The audience is a vast, dark, silent void. You do not see them. You see only the dance, which you have practiced 1,000 times. You begin the first slow, graceful movements, an unfolding flower. The costume is heavy, but familiar. The dance accelerates. It calls for a sharp, sudden turn, a deep, prayer-like kneel where you press your arms and sleeves tightly against your torso. You execute the move, and a sudden, searing pain electrifies your entire body. It is not a muscle cramp. It is a constellation of white-hot daggers, sharp, stabbing, and intensely personal. You feel them in your waist, driven deep by the pressure of the obi. You feel them in your inner arms, scraping and piercing your skin as you press them to your sides. You feel a particularly sharp one at your collar, stabbing into the soft skin of your neck. Your breath catches. You almost scream. In that one agonizing, heart-stopping moment, you understand everything. This is not an accident. This is Tomiko. This is her malice, her answer to your talent. She has hidden dozens of needles and pins, points facing inward, deep in the thick cotton padding and linings of your costume, knowing the choreography would do the rest. This is the whale attack. This is the sudden, unexpected and malicious act of violence designed to destroy you in your moment of greatest triumph. You are on stage. The lights are hot. The music continues. The audience is watching. Oima is in the wings, her eyes like a hawk's. To stop, to wince, to even flinch would be a public disgrace. It would shame the Okiya. It would prove you are not worthy. It would be Tomiko's perfect, final victory. A new different kind of energy floods your body. It is not fear. It is a cold, clear, and powerful rage. It is the bone that Oima saw in you as a 5-year-old. You will not give her the satisfaction. You will not be broken by mere metal. You lock your mind away from the pain. You force the agony into a small, dark, and distant box. You are no longer a bleeding, 15-year-old girl. You are Mineko. You are the dance. The dance is the story of a spirit betrayed. You do not have to act it. You are it. You channel the cold, silent rage, the pain, the betrayal, and you pour it into the performance. Your movements become sharper, more powerful, imbued with a desperate, heartbreaking emotion that the audience mistakes for genius. You can feel the warm, wet trickle of blood beginning to run down your sides, a horrifying, sticky feeling, invisible beneath the heavy, priceless silk. The shamisen strikes its final, vibrating chord. The flute sighs and falls silent. You strike your final, perfect, agonizing pose. The music stops. You hold. 1 second. 2. The silence of the audience is absolute, a heavy, velvet blanket. They are stunned by the power of the performance. They do not know it was real. You hear the sharp clack of the wooden hyoshigi, clappers, from the side of the stage. The end. You sink into your final bow, a slow, deep, and excruciatingly painful gesture, the needles in your collar scraping against your neck. You rise, and with a grace you do not feel, a grace that is pure, conditioned reflex, you slide off the stage, out of the hot, bright light, and into the dark, frantic chaos of the wings. The moment you are hidden, the iron will that held you up evaporates. Your legs buckle. You fall against a wooden support. A sharp gasp of pure, unrestrained agony finally ripping from your throat as Yeiko, your older sister, rushes towards you, her face a mask of confusion. Mineko? What is it? You were. Brilliant. You cannot speak. You are shaking too hard. You just look at her, your eyes finally showing the pain, and you point to your sleeve. She touches it. Her hand comes away sticky and red. She stares at her own fingers, stained with your blood, and her face twists into a look of slow, horrified understanding. Your performance at the Miyako Odori, the dance on a stage of hidden needles, was not just a triumph. It was a transformation. In the small, whispered, and vicious world of Gion, you are no longer just a promising apprentice. You are a legend. You are the Maiko with the bone, the girl with the iron will. This fame is a new, hotter, and more dangerous fire. It brings Oima, your matriarch, a wave of prestige and staggering profits. The Iwasaki Okiya is now the most sought after in Kyoto. And you, her star asset, her priceless investment, must now pay your dividend. The grueling marathon of your training was only a warm-up. The real ordeal, the sprint that will last for years, has just begun. Your life becomes a blur, a disorienting 24-hour cycle of performance and exhaustion. The day begins not with light, but with a jolt of pain. Your neck, stiff and aching from the takamakura, the hard, lacquered sleep block, feels as if it will crack. You are dragged from a few shallow hours of sleep before dawn. The Nyokoba, school, awaits. You must be a student. Your body screams for rest, but you force it through the motions, the agonizing, precise holds of the dance, the scratch-scrape of your calloused, aching fingers on the shamisen strings. You rush back to the okiya. There is no rest. There is only the long 2-hour ritual of construction. You kneel, a silent, passive doll, as the dressers begin their work. You feel the cold, chalky, lead-based oshiroi paint being applied, a cold porcelain mask hardening on your face. You feel the 40-pound ceremonial kimono, a river of silk worth a king's ransom, being strapped onto your small frame. Then, the obi. The dresser shoves a knee into your back and pulls the sash tight with a sharp, professional grunt. The air is forced from your lungs in a sudden, familiar gasp. You are sealed in. You can no longer take a full breath. The nightly marathon begins. It is 6 o'clock. The clack, clack, clack of your tall Okubo sandals is a frantic running sound on the dark, stone-paved alleys. You are a 40-pound silk doll hurrying from one tea house to the next. You slide open a paper screen, entering a blaze of warm, smoky light. You kneel. You smile. You are Mineko, and you are starving. The room is a paradise of sensation. The air is thick with the rich, intoxicating aromas of sashimi, of fragrant, steaming soups, of seared, delicate tempura laid out for the powerful men who have paid a fortune for your company. You are surrounded by a king's feast, and you cannot eat a single bite. It is considered ungraceful for a maiko to eat at a banquet. Your job is to pour, to laugh, to charm, to be a perfect, witty, attentive doll, while the hunger inside you is a cold, hollow, and relentless ache. The night wears on. 6 p.m. becomes 8 p.m., 10 p.m. The faces of the men begin to blur, a rotating, faceless tide of loud, drunken, and demanding patrons. The smoke from their cigars and cigarettes is a thick, stinging haze, making your painted eyes burn. Your smiling, plaster-coated face feels like it will crack. Midnight. You move to the next tea house. 1 a.m., 2 a.m. You finally stumble back into the silent, dark okiya at 2, 30 inches the morning. But you are not done. The hour-long agonizing process of deconstruction begins. The pins are pulled from your heavy, waxed hair. The obi is unwound, the sudden release of pressure sending a painful, tingling rush of blood back into your torso. You scrub the thick, chalky makeup from your face, your skin raw and stinging. You fall onto your futon at 3 a.m., your neck finding the familiar, agonizing cradle of the takamakura. In 3 hours, the sun will rise, and you will do it all again. This is your life, 7 days a week, for months. You are a ghost, a beautiful machine running on adrenaline and the iron will that has gotten you this far. Your body, the body you trained to be a perfect instrument, begins to rebel. The relentless stress, the profound lack of sleep, and the simple grinding starvation are waging a war you cannot win. The very thought of food, the rich smells you must endure all night, becomes nauseating. You stop eating. Even your meager meals at the okiya. You are shrinking. Your weight plummets. You are a small, fragile skeleton lost inside a 40-pound kimono. You are dizzy. You are weak. But the performance must go on. Your perfection on stage, your witty replies, are now a desperate, hollow act of pure muscle memory, performed by a body that is, quite literally, eating itself. The collapse comes on a Thursday. You are at a high-profile banquet filled with the most powerful men in Kyoto. You are in the middle of a dance, a slow, graceful turn. The room, with its hot lights and thick, sweet smell of sake and perfume, suddenly tilts. The sound of the shamisen seems to stretch, to become distant and distorted, like a sound heard underwater. A cold, black hiss fills your ears. You feel your knees buckle. It is not a graceful, artistic fall. It is a dead weight, a thud of silk and bone on the tatami mat. You have fainted in the middle of a performance. You have committed the most unforgivable, unprofessional sin. The room erupts in a chorus of shocked, feminine gasps. The music stops. You are unconscious. A broken porcelain doll, a heap of ruined silk. The last thing you see before the world goes black is the face of Oima, pushing through the crowd. Her expression is not one of motherly concern. It is the cold, white, and absolutely furious face of a businesswoman whose most valuable asset has just, publicly and humiliatingly, broken. You are 20 years old. The seasons of your life are now marked by the color of the kimonos you wear and the festivals of Gion. You are a maiko at the absolute peak of your fame, a seasoned artist, and the most sought-after name in Kyoto. Your debt to the Okiya, while still a colossal, ever-present shadow, is being rapidly paid down by the astronomical fees you command. But you have reached the age. You are approaching your 21st birthday, and in the flower and willow world, this means one thing. It is time for your mizuage. This is the word, the concept, that the outside world, the Western world, has seized upon. It is the dark, sensational, and lurid heart of all their fantasies about your life. You know the story they tell. You have seen the way foreign men, and even some Japanese patrons, look at you, their eyes filled with a crude, speculative heat that misunderstands everything. They believe mizuage is a transaction. They believe it is a virginity auction, a dark, shameful ritual where your innocence is sold to the highest bidding dana, patron, to pay off your crippling debt. They believe you are a high-class, ritualized prostitute, and this is the moment of your final, most profitable sale. You sit in your small, quiet room, the scent of your chalky oshiroi makeup in the air as you prepare for the evening's banquets. You think of this Western myth, this story that has been told in their novels and their movies, and you know that it is a lie, a fabrication, an insulting confusion between the artist, Geiko, and the courtesan, Oiran. That was not your world. That was not the world of Gion. Your virginity was your own. It was a private matter, not a public commodity. It was never, ever for sale. The truth of your mizuage is not a dark, sexual and financial drama. It is a quiet, symbolic, and deeply traditional ceremony. It is not about a patron. It is about your hair. The day arrives. You are summoned by Oima. You are not brought to a dark tea house to be presented to a strange man. You are brought to the familiar, wax-scented room of the Kamiyui-san, the official hairdresser. Oima is there, watching, her face a mask of neutral business. The ritual is the danpatsu shiki, the hair-cutting ceremony. You kneel. You see your own reflection, the magnificent, heavy Wear-shinobu, split peach, hairstyle, the style you have worn for 5 years, with its bright red ribbons and cascading ornaments. The look of an apprentice. Oima steps forward. In her hand is a small, sharp, silver knife tied with a red ribbon. She finds the central silk knot that holds the entire, heavy, waxed structure in place. There is a single, clean snip. The sound is small, final. The heavy, waxed wings of your hair collapse. A profound, almost spiritual weight lifts from your head. This is your mizuage. This is the cutting of your ties to apprenticeship. Why was your story so different from the dark, sensationalized myths? The answer is not a moral one. It is one of cold, hard economics. You are the Atatori, Oima's legal heir. Oima is a businesswoman. Selling a product once is a bad investment. She is not a brothel madam. She is an investor, managing a priceless asset that will pay dividends for decades. Your true value is not in your virginity. It is in your art, your fame, your nightly fees, your status as the legendary Mineko are already paying your debt at a staggering rate. You are worth infinitely more to her and to the Okiya as an untouchable artist than as a fallen woman. That night, you attend the banquets with a new, more mature hairstyle, the ofuku. The patrons, the men who understand this world, see it and nod, offering their congratulations on your new senior status. The outside world will continue to believe its dark, romantic lies. You will continue to live your true, disciplined, and far more complex life. You are 21. The mizuage ceremony, with its quiet, symbolic cutting of your top knot, is behind you. You have survived the needles. You have survived the psychological starvation of your own fame. You have endured the nightly torture of the Takamakura for 5 years. Your debt to the Okiya, that vast, invisible mountain, has finally been paid in full by your relentless, exhausting work. The day of your erikai, your turning of the collar, arrives. This is not a public debut, full of nerves and bright lights. It is a deep, solemn, and transformative ritual. It is your graduation. It is your liberation. You are brought to the dressing room, just as you were for your misadashi. But the atmosphere is not one of frantic, terrified preparation. It is one of quiet, profound respect. You are no longer a child being painted for the stage. You are an artist being vested for her new life. The transformation is a process of unburdening. First, the heavy, brightly coloured furisode kimono, the 40-pound robe with sleeves that sweep the floor, is taken from you. It is the symbol of your apprenticeship, and you will never wear it again. In its place, the dresser brings a new robe. It is a tomesode, a kimono of a deep, solid, elegant colour, perhaps an indigo or a soft, mossy green. The silk is finer, but the garment itself is lighter. As it slides over your shoulders, you feel a literal weight lift. The sleeves are short, your arms are free. Then comes the most important symbol of all, the collar. For 5 years, your collar has been a band of intricate, heavily embroidered red silk, a bright, childish signal of your apprentice status. That is taken away. The dresser brings a new one. It is a simple, unadorned, and perfectly smooth band of pure, stark white. You feel its cool, clean touch against your neck. It is the white of maturity, of mastery, of professionalism. Finally, you go to the Kamiyui-san, the hairdresser, one last time. But you do not sit for hours as your own hair is pulled, waxed, and tormented into the heavy Maiko style. Your own hair, a source of pain and identity for so long, is now neatly bound and tucked away under a fine silk net. A katsura, a wig, is brought out. It is a masterpiece, crafted on a copper base, styled into the simple, elegant, and timeless Shimada style of a full geiko. It is settled onto your head. It feels strange, a cool, light helmet of someone else's identity, but it is also a profound, breathtaking liberation. Your hair is no longer a prisoner. Your head is free. You look in the mirror. The girl, Mineko, the Maiko with her glittering, tinkling bells and bright red colours, is gone. In her place is a woman, a geiko. She is simpler. She is more elegant. She is quieter, but she possesses a new, deeper, and more formidable power. She is a master artist. But the true, final, and most personal ceremony of your graduation happens that night, alone, in your own small room. The banquet is over. You have returned to the Okiya. You carefully, reverently lift the expensive katsura from your head and place it on its waiting stand. You remove your new, lighter kimono. You go to your futon, laid out on the tatami mat, and you do not reach for the small, red, lacquered block of torture. You do not reach for the takamakura. You reach for a pillow, a real, soft, cotton-filled pillow. You lie down, and for the first time in 5 long, agonizing years, you let your head sink into its yielding softness. You turn onto your side. You feel the simple, uncomplicated, and almost unbearably luxurious sensation of your ear pressing into the cotton. You lie there in the quiet darkness, and a slow, silent tear, a tear of pure, profound relief, rolls down your face. You have survived. The pain in your fingers, the ache in your back, the needles in your costume, those were battles, but the Takamakura, that was the war. It was the nightly, grinding, inescapable ordeal of your survival. And tonight, you have won. The debt is paid. The collar is white. You are at last a master artist, and you are free. 22 years have polished you into a diamond of the Gion district. The white collar of a full geiko rests cool against your neck, a symbol of mastery that replaced the heavy red of apprenticeship. In the tea houses, your name is whispered with reverence. Your schedule is a solid block of high-profile engagements. Yet, despite the fame and the freedom from the torture of the Takamakura, a long, dark shadow still stretches across your life, cast by the heavy ledger in Oima's office. The debt. It is a mountain of yen, an accumulation of every silk kimono, every shamisen string, and every grain of rice consumed since age 5. Your earnings are a river, but the mountain is vast. You are a queen in the eyes of the public, but in the quiet calculations of the Okia, you remain a bonded asset. Then, the shadow shifts. The offer does not arrive on scented paper, whispered in the moonlight. It comes as a formal business proposition, delivered over bitter green tea in the middle of the afternoon. A man has asked to be your Dana. He is a familiar figure in the exclusive rooms of Gion. The chairman. A captain of post-war industry, a man with a face etched by the pressures of rebuilding a steel empire from ash. He is in his 50s, carrying the heavy, silent authority of a man who moves mountains. The fact of his wife and family is entirely irrelevant in this sphere. They manage his lineage, but you, he proposes, will manage his peace. The meeting to finalize this arrangement feels less like a courtship and more like the signing of a peace treaty. The most formal room of the Okia smells of expensive, aged tatami and the sharp, dry scent of charcoal. Oima sits beside you, a fortress of black silk. The chairman sits opposite. He does not look at you with the hungry, wandering eyes of a drunk patron. He looks at Oima. He speaks of numbers, of support, of exclusivity. I wish to undertake the sponsorship of Mineko-san. His voice rumbles, gravelly and firm as the foundations of his factories. I will assume her expenses. I will assume her debt. Oima, the shrewd matriarch, nods slowly, her face betraying nothing. She opens the ledger. The black ink columns, the record of your entire life's cost, lie exposed between them. The negotiation is cold, precise, and staggering. The chairman produces a checkbook. The scratch of his fountain pen is the loudest sound in the room, writing a string of zeros that could purchase a fleet of luxury cars. He tears the check from the book, a sharp, final rip that echoes in the silence, and slides it across the mat. Oima picks it up. She inspects the figures. She nods. In that single, paper-thin moment, the mountain of debt that has loomed over you for 17 years dissolves. The invisible chain that bound you to the Okia snaps. But a new chain has been forged. The chairman turns to you. I am honored, he says, the words simple, heavy with weight. Bowing until your forehead touches the weave of the mat, you reply, I am in your care. This is the Dana relationship, the most complex and misunderstood architecture of your world. To the West, it looks like a mistress. To the cynical, a sale. But the reality is something far more intricate. It is a contract of loyalty. He does not own you. He does not dictate your art. But he has bought the right to be your gravity. When he enters a room, you must leave the side of any other patron to sit by his. He funds the kimonos that are now works of museum-quality art. He secures your future. He is your patron, your sponsor, your wall against the world. Is there intimacy? Yes. But it is not the frantic transactional heat of the red light districts. It is a slow, quiet intimacy born of giri, the burden of obligation. You do not fall in love with a Dana as a girl falls for a boy. You accept him. You offer him a sanctuary from the noise of his own power. That night, the dynamic shifts. Seated with him in a high-end private ryote restaurant, the performance drops away. You are no longer playing to a room. You are existing with a partner. The air is quiet, smelling of rain and cedar. He looks at you with a mixture of pride and profound relief. You are the jewel he has secured, the ultimate symbol of his success, but also his only true confidant. He speaks of business rivals, of the terrifying fragility of the economy, of the weariness that settles in his bones. You pour his sake not as a servant but as a wife of the shadows. You listen. Your counsel, sharpened by years of absorbing the secrets of powerful men, is witty and wise. Looking at this man, this titan of industry who has just paid a fortune for your time, you do not feel owned. You feel anchored. The crushing anxiety of the ledger is gone, replaced by the stability of this private contract. You have traded the volatility of the open market for the security of a fortress. He is the wall that protects the garden, and you are the flower that blooms, now, only for him. May 1975. The Gion district is usually a sanctuary of shadows and silence, a place where the modern world is held at bay by bamboo fences and paper screens. But tonight, the air vibrates with a jarring high-voltage frequency. Police sirens wail in the distance, cutting through the quiet. Black limousines, their flags fluttering, line the narrow stone-paved streets like sleek, idling sharks. Men with earpieces and stone faces patrol the perimeter of the legendary Ichiriki tea house. This is not a normal evening of business. It is a state occasion. Your name is no longer just whispered in the tea houses of Kyoto. It is typed on the official schedules of the foreign ministry. When the government needs to show the world the living, breathing heart of Japanese culture, they do not send a politician. They do not send a statue. They send for you. You are the face of Japan. Tonight, the guests are the ultimate symbol of global power and tradition. Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom and her son, Prince Charles. Inside the Ichiriki, the tension is brittle enough to snap. The room is prepared with an agonizing attention to detail. The flower arrangement, ikebana, is a masterpiece of seasonal subtlety. Every branch and bud coaxed into a perfect line. The best cushions, the finest lacquerware, the rarest incense, everything is perfection, and you are the centerpiece. Dressed in a kimono of such deep, formal elegance that it rivals the national treasury, you kneel in the corridor, waiting. The weight of the silk is familiar now, a second skin. The white mask of your makeup is flawless. But beneath the calm exterior, your mind is racing, not with fear, but with the high-stakes calculation of a master strategist. This is not just a dance, it is high-wire diplomacy. The royal party enters. The room bows. The queen is a figure of immense, frozen dignity. She sits, upright and distant, but she is wearing gloves, and she is wearing a hat, indoors, in a Japanese tea house. A silent, seismic shock ripples through the geisha present. To wear outdoor items inside is a profound breach of custom, a jarring wrong note in the symphony of the tea ceremony. But she is a queen. No one can speak. The air in the room instantly drops 10 degrees. The banquet begins. It is a disaster. The queen does not eat. She does not drink. She sits in a silence so profound it seems to suck the oxygen from the room. The Japanese officials are sweating, terrified of a diplomatic incident. The other geishas are frozen, their painted smiles straining against the wall of royal reserve. By the strict rules of etiquette, if the guest of honor does not eat, no one eats. You watch the exquisite courses, dishes that took master chefs days to prepare go untouched. The delicate sashimi warms, the soup cools. It is a waste. It is a bore. Your patience, usually a deep well, begins to run dry. You are an artist, not a museum exhibit behind glass. You are used to engaging, to charming, to bringing a room to life with a single word. This icy silence is an insult to the hospitality of Gion. Your eyes shift to the young man seated next to her, Prince Charles. He looks different. He is looking around the room not with judgment but with curiosity. He glances at the flower arrangement, at the calligraphy scroll, at the food. He looks a bit overwhelmed, perhaps bored by the stifling protocol, his eyes darting around with a lively interest that his mother suppresses, a spark of mischief. The same fire that led a 5-year-old girl to pledge her life to art ignites in your chest. If the queen will not play, you will play with the prince. You make a decision. Breaking the suffocating protocol, you do not wait to be summoned. You glide closer to him. You do not bow and retreat. You sit. You catch his eye. You smile. It is not the formal, frozen smile of a doll. It is a genuine conspiratorial grin, a spark of humanity in the stiff room. He blinks, surprised, and then he smiles back. You notice him looking at your fan, a beautiful hand-painted folding fan of gold leaf and paper. Instead of performing a distant dance, you lean in. You open the fan with a sharp, practiced snap that makes the security guards twitch. You flutter it, not at yourself. You flutter it playfully towards him, sending a cool, scented breeze across his face. It is a breach of protocol so brazen it is breathless. You are flirting with the future King of England. He laughs. It is a real human sound that shatters the ice in the room. He says something in English, his tone warm, amused. You do not need a translator to understand the connection. He is charmed. He is no longer a royal figurehead. He is a young man enjoying the company of a beautiful, witty woman. Emboldened, you decide to push the boundary further. You want to secure this victory. You take a small gold-edged card from your obi, usually used for exchanging names. You slide it towards him along with a pen. You gesture to the fan, then to the card. A request for an autograph. The Japanese officials turn pale. Their eyes widen in horror. To ask a royal for a signature is forbidden. It is vulgar. It is impossible. But Charles does not look at the officials. He looks at you, the woman with the white face and the audacious eyes who has dared to treat him like a person. He takes the pen. He signs the card with a flourish. The room exhales. The tension breaks. The conversation begins to flow, carried on the back of your small, rebellious act of charm. The queen remains distant, but the night is saved. The banquet becomes a memory, a story, a success. Later, as you bow the royal party into their limousines, the flashbulbs popping like lightning storms in the Gion night, you feel a profound sense of power. It is not the power of armies or laws. It is the soft, fluid, unstoppable power of your art. You stood before the monarchs of the West, and you did not tremble. You controlled the room. You turned a diplomatic disaster into a personal triumph with nothing more than a fan and a smile. You have reached the absolute summit of the mountain. There is no one left to impress. You are the queen of your own world. But as the taillights fade into the darkness, a quiet, cold thought begins to take root in your mind. When you have touched the sky, where is there left to go but down? 29 years have polished you into an icon. You stand at the window of your private apartment, a space of modern luxury far removed from the dark, polished wood corridors of the Okia. Gion lies below you, a maze of slate roofs and secrets. Your bank account is full. Your schedule is a ledger of triumphs, a testament to a career that has surpassed every expectation. You are the most famous woman in Japan's traditional world, a national treasure wrapped in silk. By every metric of the world you entered as a 5-year-old child, you have conquered the mountain. But the view from the summit is not what you expected. It is not a vista of freedom. It is a view of a prison yard, seen from the highest tower. The feeling begins as a spiritual cramping, a dull ache distinct from the physical fire of your training. Looking down at the Karyukai, the flower and willow world, you no longer see its beauty. You see its bars. You have become a master, but you are ruling over a kingdom of ghosts. The traditions you sacrificed your childhood to perfect are not living things. They are fossils, preserved in amber, guarded by old women and bureaucrats who refuse to let them breathe. You try to shatter the glass. You are Mineko Iwasaki. Surely if anyone can force this world to modernize, it is you. You march into the offices of the registry officials. You confront the older matriarchs. You argue that the education system is too brutal, that it breaks more spirits than it cultivates. You demand that young women be allowed a formal education alongside their arts. You argue that the Karyukai must adapt to the 20th century, or it will die. You are met with a wall of silence, a wall of polite, painted smiles and cold, dead eyes. "This is how it has always been," they murmur, sipping their tea. Who are you to question the ancestors? They do not see you as a visionary. They see you as an upstart. They resent your fame, your independence, your modern ideas. The system that created you now seeks to freeze you in place, a perfect, unchanging doll in a glass case. And then there is the silence of your own heart. Your life with the chairman is a quiet, stable anchor. You respect him deeply. He loves you in his way. But there are lines drawn in invisible iron. You can never be his wife. You can never walk with him in the sunlight of a public park, holding hands like a normal couple. The iron laws of your profession are clear. A geisha is an artist, a mistress of the shadows. To marry is to retire. To be an artist is to belong to the world, never fully to yourself or to one man. The system demands you remain a permanent, beautiful mistress to the public, a flower that can never be taken home. Seeking clarity, you visit the New Koba, the school where you once bled on the shamisen strings. You watch a class of new recruits, 10-year-old girls, their eyes wide with the same terror you once felt, kneel on the hard floors. You see their spirits being ground down by the same mindless, repetitive cruelty. A sudden, blinding flash of anger illuminates the room. You realize you are not the Queen of Gion. You are the bait. Your fame, your glamour, your astronomical success. It is the shiny lure that traps the next generation of girls in this cycle of servitude and debt. You are the poster child for a system that you now despise. Every time you step out in a kimono, every time you smile for a camera, you are selling a lie that enslaves these children. The Karyukai is a prison of tradition. It is a beautiful, scented, silk-lined coffin. It refuses to modernize. It refuses to grant women basic human freedoms. It refuses to let you grow. You have mastered the system. You have beaten every level of the game, and you have found that the prize at the end is hollow. Turning away from the window, the faint sound of a shamisen drifts up from the street below. It is a lonely, plinking sound that once thrilled you, the sound of your own ambition. Now, it sounds like a chain rattling in the dark. You have spent 24 years fighting to get into the heart of this world. You realize now, with a cold, exhilarating certainty, that the greatest, most difficult, and most dangerous act of your life will not be staying at the top. It will be getting out. You are the sun around which the entire galaxy of Gion revolves. Your calendar is booked 3 years in advance. Your annual income rivals that of the CEOs you entertain. You are the flawless, untouchable icon of a centuries-old tradition. and you are about to burn it all down. The decision does not come with tears or hesitation. It arrives with the cold, sharp clarity of a diamond cutter finding the fault line in a gem. You have petitioned for change. You have asked for dignity. You have demanded that the Karyukai treat its women as humans, not just heirlooms. You have been met with the silence of stone. So, you choose the nuclear option. If the system will not bend, you will not simply break. You will leave a void so large it threatens to collapse the structure itself. The day of your announcement is not a quiet, private meeting. It is a declaration of war. You stand before Oima, the woman who bought your childhood with a ledger. You stand before the officials of the registry. You do not bow low in the submissive curve of the Miko. You stand straight, your spine a rod of steel, forged in their own fires. I quit, you say. The words hit the room like a physical blow. The air leaves the lungs of the matriarchs. It is inconceivable. You are the Atatori, the heir. You are the golden goose. You are at the height of your powers. No one quits at the top. They fade away, or they become managers. To leave now is to throw away a kingdom. You cannot, Oima whispers, her face pale beneath the powder. The debt, the obligation. The debt is paid, you reply, your voice calm, final. The obligation is finished. I am retiring, and I am taking my name with me. The shockwave is instantaneous. It rips through the narrow alleys of Gion faster than a fire. The news shatters the polite silence of the tea houses. Mineko is leaving. It is a scandal. It is a betrayal. But more than that, it is a signal. By walking away, you prove that the cage has a door. In the weeks that follow, the structure fractures. Following your lead, 70 other geishas inspired by your defiance, tired of the same rigid chains, announce their own retirements. You have not just left, you have started a revolution. The final day comes. You are in your room at the Okiya for the last time. You look at the tools of your survival. The shamisen with its biting strings. The takamakura, the wooden block that stole your sleep. The magnificent, heavy kimonos that were your armor and your prison. You touch none of them. You leave them where they lie. They belong to Mineko, and Mineko is a ghost you are leaving behind in the shadows. You dress, not in silk, not in robes. You put on a pair of blue jeans, a simple shirt. You brush your hair out, letting it fall loose and natural around your shoulders, free of wax, free of ornaments, free of weight. You walk down the polished wooden corridor. You do not slide your feet in the shuffling gait of the artist. You walk with the long, confident strides of a modern woman. You pass the open door of the practice room, where a new generation of girls is kneeling in pain. You do not look back. You step out of the heavy wooden door of the Okiya. The air of Gion smells of incense and the past. You take a breath, and you step across the threshold, out of the alley, and into the bright, chaotic, noisy street of modern Kyoto. The roar of traffic is music. The smell of exhaust fumes is freedom. You have spent 24 years surviving the most beautiful, brutal, and disciplined system on Earth. You conquered its arts, you paid its debts, and you defied its masters. You are a survivor, washed up on the shore of a new life. You are Masako Tanaka, and for the first time since you were 5, the world belongs to you. And so, the paper screens slide shut on the life of Mineko Iwasaki. She walked out of the flower and willow world, leaving the silence and the silk behind her. A survivor who conquered the system by refusing to be owned by it. Your own long day, with its own demands and disciplines, is also at an end. Let the sound of the shamisen fade into the distance. Let the weight of your own obligations lift from your shoulders. The performance is over. It is time to rest. If this journey into the hidden world of Gion helped you unwind tonight, a quiet like is always deeply appreciated. And if you wish to join us for more true stories from history's shadows, please consider subscribing. Thank you for spending your quiet time with me. May your sleep be deep, comfortable, and free. Until our next story, good night.